We're standing next to the I-45 highway north of downtown, and it is an emergency evacuation route for a couple of reasons, potentially flooding and hurricanes. Hurricanes we're more familiar with. We were invited to a civic organization meeting where it was proposed to move I-45 away from the downtown area to the west side over to the 6th Ward. And so another idea was to actually move I-45 over the current Houston Avenue, which we were in not too long ago. In the process, I was trying to think what would allow us to do that and not have the consequences that we find in living or working next to a highway. So what do we see? We see a beautiful downtown, and you can see all the green, but you can also hear, and what do we hear is the highway. Now, we can say we're used to it, but there's another factor that most people don't realize is pollution that comes out of vehicles. And in Houston, one statistic is that there's about 20% of people that have upper respiratory problems. And that's because our area is contaminated. I myself have asthma, and many nights I have asthma attacks, which is very unpleasant. But what are the consequences of moving a highway inside a neighborhood? That happened back in the 50s when they put all the I-45. This used to be part of a residential area, the old Germantown. So when they built this I-45, they had to take out several blocks of homes, and also there used to be a Highland Park, which is down that way. And in the old times, there was several thousand of people that used to go there on the weekends to enjoy the park, and there was a paddling boats, and there was a band. So this is in the 50s, then the highway comes along, destroys all of that. And we're trying to do the same thing now, because when we were engaged in the conversation, Texas was in the plans to expand I-45 from I-10 all the way to Beltway 8, about 15 miles. When we came out here, the beautiful thing is how, when you drive I-45 from the airport, you drive in, and as you're driving towards downtown, you see the beautiful skyline. But the highway is not very pretty. So that came along in a thought process that I put together, and the thought was, what if this highway disappears? What instead we build a Memorial Drive or an Allen Parkway? And what if we put a light rail in the center so we can actually go from the airport to downtown, and as we come to downtown, see how beautiful the city is at. So what was proposed right after the meeting, I called a gentleman who is an expert in highway tunneling, and I pretty much asked him, can you tunnel I-45? And he said yes. Thus, the idea was, instead of having 12 lanes of highway out in the surface, polluting the air and creating all this noise and unpleasant sight, put it all underground. And over time, replace what we see with a road like Memorial Drive, plus a light rail in the center. And that's what now we call it the I-45 tunnel / parkway. And the previous district engineer for Texas pretty much said at a meeting that we had with Adrian Garcia, said, if this is what y'all want, it can be done. But we need the support from the mayor. So that was been the challenge all along, is like, can we have full support from our elected officials to do this? And I think the time is right, because the economy is going down, and we need some unique projects that's going to put Houston into the next, to this century, 21st century. Can we imagine this whole highway to be put underground, like they do in Europe and many other cities, and with some time to start redeveloping this road into a boulevard, which is tree-lined boulevard with local streets, so people can still have local access. And with time, the size will be redeveloped like we see in a lot of cosmopolitan cities, cafes, and people walk in, because the noise and the pollution and the unpleasantness of highways will go away. It will be underground. So that's the challenge. Can we engage the public in that process? And can we educate our public officials and elected officials into the benefits of it? And I've done the calculations. The cost is not that significant of comparing the alternative.